Hello everyone, Spike Minds here, and welcome back to another video. This is another top 10 video. Now, I'd like to apologize, and you're gonna see, and you have already seen, most likely, a huge gap in videos. That's just because I'm a kid, I'm going back to school. I can record a lot less often, I can edit videos a lot less often, so just in general, you're gonna see a lot less videos. So I have this. I do have another top 10 that's related to this coming up, hopefully. And I also have the final Undertale replays, the best moments. I also have that coming soon. So be on the lookout for those. But for now, we're doing a top 10. We are doing top 10 best Zelda items. Because The Legend of Zelda is an amazing series. I love the games. As for my favorite, you'll find out that later in the list. I will talk about that. Let's just jump right into it. Zelda is all about a lot of things, puzzles and dungeons, and a lot of those things are centered around items. Today we're talking about the best items. But here are some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list. The stone mask from Majora's Mask. It didn't make the list because I wanted to limit how many masks I did from Majora's Mask. If you played Majora's Mask, you know what I'm talking about. There's like a ton of masks. The fire rod from a variety of games. You shoot fire. That's all I have to say. The boomerang, because in some games like Wind Waker and the original, actually, Legend of Zelda, it was really good. Or its counterpart, the magic boomerang, which was like an upgrade. Those were really good, but in other games, I feel it's quite lacking. For example, in Link Between Worlds, there's literally no point in getting it. It's not required for any dungeons, and so it's sort of in the honorable mentions there. Sort of in a limbo. Next is the beetle from Skyward Sword. I've never played Skyward Sword, and that's probably a large influence on this. So yeah. The floating platform is called a step ladder from the original Legend of Zelda. It allowed you to essentially step on one extra water tile to cross something. And I know there's a lot of honorable mentions. And the last two are both from Wind Waker. The grappling hook. It's a grappling hook. And I always like trying to hit a bunch of enemies with it to see what treasures I could pull off their body with a grappling hook. Love that quote, by the way. I think I just hit my mic. And finally, the Skull Hammer, because it's like twice the size of Link. Go look up a picture of it. It's amazing. Okay, wow, that's a lot of honorable mentions. Next time there won't be that many. And so let's just get right into it. For number 10, we have the Whirlwind from Spirit Tracks. I am playing Spirit Tracks right now. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's the last video game I played as of me recording this audio right now. And I just beat the first temple, and in this, you get the item, the Whirlwind. You blow into the mic, and it creates a whirlwind. It's more useful than it sounds, actually. And also, it's called the Whirlwind. I love the name. It's called the Whirlwind. I think that's enough of a reason to put it on the spot. Also, it's current for me, so that's a little something. Anyway, next. For number 9, we have the Sand Rod, or the Sand Wand. The Sand Wand is from Spirit Tracks. I've never played that far in Spirit Tracks. Like I said, I just beat the first dungeon. I'm moving on to the second. But the Sand Wand is also in Spirit Tracks. And the Sand Rod is its counterpart in Link Between Worlds. It essentially allows you to raise the sand into pillars that you can walk on. And it's really fun to use it for puzzles, I'm gonna be honest. I've seen footage of a really cool boss fight from Spirit Tracks using the Sand Wand, where you have to essentially push these cannonballs into cannons to fire at the boss. Seems pretty cool. And I loved using the Sand Rod in Link Between Worlds. And it had an especially creative boss fight where you had to use it to maneuver around the arena. And I like that. For number 8, we have the hover boots from Ocarina of Time. A lot of people really hate these because when you put them on, it's essentially ice physics everywhere. I know the Game Grumps are famous for keeping the hover boots on, but I would just like to go on record and say that I kept the hover boots on as much as I possibly could. I played the 3D version, so I don't know. I just kept them on, even though it took up an item slot. It was just fun sliding all over the place. I just didn't like ice physics when I actually needed to do something, and when I did need to do something, I just took it up. But the hover boots can allow you to hover around. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, and I like using them to hover. That's it. Next, for number 7, we have the Hyoi pair. And people who have not played this game have probably not heard of this item. It's from the Wind Waker. My favorite Zelda game. See, I said I'd say it. Wind Waker, my favorite Zelda game by far. I love it. I have the HD version, so yeah, I like that. So essentially, it's a little pear with a face that's adorable. You put it on your head, and a seagull comes, eats it, and you control the seagull. For people who have played Skyward Sword and not Wind Waker, it's essentially like the beetle item. Although I like the Huey pair's face, so yeah. There's an interesting glitch that you can like use the seagull to like go into like a hole, and then you're inside the island and you fly around the seagull inside the island. And I did that, and it was really fun. And I just like being a seagull. Next, for number 6, we have the bunny hood. Yes, this is the mask. For people who have not played Majora's Mask or heard of it, yes, I know it says hood. It's classified as a mask. It is like sort of a headband that you put on with bunny ears, and that somehow makes you go supersonic speed. What I love about this item is it has a little adorable side quest, and what's the best part about this speed is that you can get it before even going to the first area of the game. Here's a little bit of instructions. Go to the laundry place in Clocktown, talk to the insane guy on the night of the first day. He will give you a mask that looks like an eagle. On the final day, go, I think it's, off the top of my memory, it's west, but go, you can look it up, go to Romani Ranch, and go to the Cuckoo Shack. Wear the eagle mask, and use it to play a song and march around and collect all the little cuckoos. Once you do, then you get the bunny hood, before even going to the first area, and I love that. I personally didn't get it before going to the first area, but I got it, well, like, in the midst of the second area, so it was still pretty good. Next, for number 5, we have bombs. And for the purpose, I'm also going to include another mask. It's called the Blast Mask. It's essentially a bomb in a mask form. Bombs, it's been a staple for a long time. You find hidden secrets, break rocks, other cool stuff. You can be used for puzzles, can be used for fighting. It's super awesome. And the Blast Mask is just, you essentially press the button, you take a little bit of damage, and you blow up as if you were a bomb. Except if there's a little bit, I don't know, sort of an exploit, and if you shield while using this, then you can explode without hurting yourself, and it doesn't take up any of your bombs. So it's very interesting, and it kind of renders bombs null and void in Majora's Mask. Don't spend money on bombs in Majora's Mask. You can get it, like, night of the first day in East Clocktown. So, yeah. And I'm just gonna kind of include them on the same spot on the list. Next. For number 4, we have the bow and arrows. I'm saying arrows because there are multiple kinds of arrows. There's the regular arrows, which are boring, but still effective. There's fire arrows, which, I mean, the name sounds awesome, and it is awesome. Ice arrows, which are less useful, but, I mean, whatever. And light arrows, which are Ganondorf's weakness. Oh, what? There's one more kind of arrows? Oh, yes, the best kind of arrows! Combine bombs, combine arrows. In Twilight Princess, you get the bomb arrows. What's better than killing something with a bomb or an arrow individually? Killing it with a bomb arrow. In addition to this, in the original Twilight Princess, there was actually a glitch to get both infinite bombs and infinite arrows, oddly specific, therefore infinite bomb arrows. You can kill everything with bomb arrows, essentially. And I think that's amazing. Ooh, now we're getting into the bigger ones. Number 3 is the hook shot. And for the purpose of this list, I'm including all variants of the hook shot, like the long shot, which is just the hook shot but longer, the claw shot, which is just the hook shot, and the double claw shot, which is 2 hook shots that allows you to be Spider-Man from both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. The hook shot is in almost every Zelda game, except for like the first few, but like in every other Zelda game, it's there. It For those of you who've never played Legend of Zelda, essentially what it does is it allows you to fire it at any wood surface or other sticky surface, and the end of the hookshot will stick into this surface and pull you to it. So if there's a big barrel up on that hill up there, I was pointing like you guys can see me. If there's a big barrel up on the hill, you can aim the hookshot at it and instantly be at the top. The long shot, of course, fires longer, and then with the claw shot, you can sort of be Spider-Man, like I said. And that's awesome. Or you could fail at it and just die. So, yeah. But, I never made it that far in Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess, blah. And I haven't played Skyward Sword, so I've never gotten to experience Spider-Man. Sadness. Okay, next. Number 2 is the Deku Leaf. Yes, back to Wind Waker. Again, my favorite Zelda game, and Deku Leaf is super useful. Anyone who has played that game knows exactly what I'm talking about. I find a good example is in the Forsaken Fortress. Specifically when you revisit it. When you go back, you have a bunch of items, and it expects you to go back through, like, the inside of the tower, drudgery, blah, blah, blah. Well, I said, you know what? That's boring. So I climbed the nearest lookout tower, I jumped off the edge, and I pulled out my Deku Leaf, and I glided all the way there, pretty much. I still had to do a little bit of climbing, but you can do this too, and it's not just here, it's all over the game. It's super useful. Just in general. But yeah, it's super useful. That's it. I love the Deku Leaf. It's awesome. Next. Well, I mean, number 1 is... What could it possibly be better than the Deku Leaf? It's also from Wind Waker. It's the Mirror Shield. Now, before Wind Waker came out, Mirror Shield would not be my number 1. Because while it is in Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, I don't feel it lives up to its potential in these games. In Ocarina of Time, prior to the boss fight, you get in the Spirit Temple. I didn't really like the Spirit Temple. That was my least favorite temple in the entire game. I preferred the Water Temple, guys. That's how much I didn't like it. But I mean, for puzzly aspects, prior to the boss, the Mirror Shield is used like once, maybe twice, but that's it. You essentially get it just as sort of a key to get into the next room. And I'm like, I don't like that. I did like the boss fight though. The Kayume and Kotake boss fight was very good, and I really like the use of the Mirror Shield in that. In Majora's Mask, again, it seems sort of like a key. I mean, once you get the light arrows, it is rendered literally useless. And you get them pretty soon after, although I do like the face of pure anguish on the Mirror Shield in that iteration. Then Wind Waker comes along. My favorite Zelda game, like I've said like 8 times already. And the Earth Temple. It is my favorite Zelda dungeon of all time. In my favorite game of all time. And inside you get my favorite item of all time in Zelda. So it's a very, very happy moment in there. In addition to my favorite Zelda boss of all time. So, I mean, it's just piling it all on. You start off with the helper Medley. And Medley's a great character. But she sort of, like, follows you and stuff. And she has a harp. And all of a sudden, I walk through, and there's a light hanging from this, light shining from the ceiling, and I walk through the light, and I hear "Phshoo," and I see light bouncing off of the thing, and I'm like, no way. So I get in, and I'm like, oh my god, Medley has a Mirror Shield. And so, for a while, you have to control her using the stuff to make her use the Mirror Shield, then you get your own Mirror Shield. And in that dungeon, I made it to the bottom floor, and I'm like, yes, I love this dungeon. And it was more. It was like twice the size. It was like twice the size I expected it to be. And even the second floor, when you now had two mirror shields, I loved it. There was this last final room where you had to there was a lot of puzzlery. I'm making that word up. Don't judge me. That utilized the two mirror shields and controlling Medley and leaving her in certain positions, and it was excellently done. And I love that. And then, if you haven't seen the boss fight of the Earth Temple, go look it up. I'm sorry, I can't show you it right now, but go look it up. It won't disappoint. And those are my top 10 favorite Zelda items, and in my opinion, the top 10 best Zelda items, either for like how you get them, very rarely, it was only like the bunny hood, but whatever, their uses, practicality, and how just generically fun they are to use. And if you feel differently, that's fine. That's fine. Uh, and if you think some of my choices were the worst, well, I disagree because I have another list coming. Yeah, I said at the beginning I'd be doing another list. That's going to be the top 10 worst Zelda items. That'll be coming probably quite a bit later than this one, so don't expect it soon. But, I mean, other than that, this is Spike Minds signing off. See you guys next time. Goodbye!